DreBaldwin.com. To the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. Dre, what is that? That is go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to control your social media use. Oh, you didn't know it was controllable? Oh, it's controllable. And I'm going to tell you how to control it. But before we get started, let me tell everybody that I have a daily motivation text message that I send out every single day, free of charge, straight to your phones. Everybody who is in my text community, this message is guaranteed. Yes, you heard me, guaranteed to keep you focused, or have you at least focused, sharp, and on point to start the day. Now, what you do with the rest of the day, I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But to start the day, you will be focused, sharp, and on point. You get this message. Let me tell you how to get it. All you got to do to get this daily motivation text every day straight to your phone is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when that daily motivation comes out, starting tomorrow, yes, starting tomorrow, you'll be getting this message straight to your phone, free, to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start the day. Do not leave home without it. Second thing, what do you do with the rest of the day? You become a member of Work on Your Game University. There, you will have a lifetime full of trainings, coaching, resources, materials, courses, and physical manuals, physical books, physical magazines that I send to your physical doorstep every single month. Yes, I seriously do physically send you stuff every single month when you're a member of Work on Your Game University. All you got to do to join it is go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. That's WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. That is where you get all my coaching, access to all of this stuff that I'm talking about, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I haven't even mentioned. All you got to do is, again, go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. You can see everything that you get, everything that, this is stuff in there that I don't even mention on the page. You just go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Just go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com and stop asking questions. Go to Work on Your Game University so you can become a member and you can get everything that we're offering here in the university. So with all that said, let's get into today's topic, which is, once again, how to control your social media use. And again, yes, there is a way to control your social media use. And in case any of you is wondering, going a level higher, yes, you do need to control your social media use. Now, I told you back in episode 1690 how there are some secrets that social media does not want you to know about how they operate and how they are using you in the process of their operation. Yes, social media is using you. All right. Any of you who thought that social media, this app, you thought that some engineers who live in Silicon Valley, which I don't know if any of you has ever actually been to that area of Northern California. It is, aside from Manhattan, probably the most expensive area in the country. So, which means I'm bringing it up to tell you this. These people, you can't live out there without making any money. All right. So they have to make some money somehow. All right. So you think these guys who live in these expensive zip codes created an app, and it's hard to make an app. Any of you who's ever made an app or tried to make an app understands that it's not easy to make an app, at least one that looks good and flows well. That they make these apps, and they have all these people, and they spend all that money building it, and they live in these expensive places, and they did all of that and did all of this stuff that helps you do all of these things that you spend all day on. They did all that completely for free out of the kindness of their hearts. If that's what you thought they did it for, you are completely mistaken. If you believe that, I have some beachfront property in Idaho to sell you. All right, social media apps make their apps for free because they are getting you to pay for it with your most valuable resource, which is not the money in your pocket or the numbers in your bank account. It is the time on your lifespan. You are paying for social media with your time. It is more valuable than your money. All right. And this is why social media is free. Okay. And I told you about this in episode 1690. So if you want to hear the full explanation of this, me uncovering everything, listen to episode 1690, and you can listen to every episode in history of the show by going to WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com. Now, if you do not listen to that episode, again, do so. Today, I'm going to explain some things that I do and you will be doing, because I'm going to tell you to do them, in terms of social media use that will ensure that social media is not using you. Rather, you are using it. Okay. These are all things that your host does consciously. I do these intentionally. I do these consistently. You need to enable or enact these practices in your social media use. And this is especially true for those of you who are creators. You create content on social media, and those of you who are entrepreneurs, because you have full control over your schedule and how your time gets used. So you need to be very vigilant about how your time is being used and not being usurped, which is different than used. All right, let's get into it. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is how to control your social media use. Number one, stop scrolling. Number one thing you can do to control your use of social media is stop scrolling. Yes, you heard me. Stop scrolling. Don't, when you use your thumb and you like swipe up so more feed comes up, stop doing that. This is a pretty simple one, but alas, it is very difficult. It's not easy. Stop scrolling on social media. I use social media as a producer, not as a consumer. So I get on social media to post something. I post it, and then I get off. I do not scroll on Instagram. So if I'm following you on Instagram, or I ever happen to be following you on Instagram at any point in life, and you notice that I never comment on or like any of your posts, it's not because I don't like you. It's not because I secretly hate you while at the same time I'm following you. No, it's not that. It's because I don't scroll. So anything that you post, unless it's the very first thing that comes up when I first open the app and it's the first post, I might like it then if I see it. But other than that, I ain't liking any of your pictures because I don't see them. I don't even know that you posted a picture because I didn't see it because I didn't scroll. I do not scroll Instagram. I do not scroll on Facebook. I do not scroll on LinkedIn. I do not scroll on YouTube. And it's not that I don't use these applications. I use them. On Instagram, for example, I don't look at anybody's posts. I rarely like people's posts. On Facebook, I don't look at anything. I don't look at anybody's posts. So anything you got going on life-wise, if the only place I could hear about it is through Facebook, I'm sorry. It's not that I'm heartless and don't care about what's going on in your life. I simply don't know about it because if that's the only place your news is happening, I ain't gonna find out. I'm gonna be the last one to know. Unless you text me or call me, I ain't gonna know. I look at things that I personally search for, but I'm not scroll and let the app recommend things to me because I know the algorithm is designed to recommend things that will probably suck me in. And I understand that the app's algorithm is stronger than my conscious willpower, so I don't get into that game. I don't get in a fight that I'm not gonna win. Everybody understand? And you need to do the exact same thing. The algorithm of the app is stronger than your willpower. And unless you are looking to waste time, which you shouldn't be doing if you listen to this show, don't scroll through the algorithm don't scroll through the app again because the algorithm is going to catch you. It's like swimming in a lake with a bunch of alligators in it. All right, you don't want to bet that you could beat the alligator in a fight. No, just don't get in that lake. All right, that's probably a better bet. Okay, so do not scroll and let the app recommend things to you or post to you because it will win. Okay, so unless you see it on the main screen when you first open the app, you don't know anything about it. Now, the only app that I do scroll on, I'll tell you about that in a second. Their algorithm, again, is their only chance to get your attention. And the only social media app, and now I got to add apps since I made these notes, that I actively and constantly scroll on is Twitter because I use Twitter as a news source. And I use Twitter as kind of like the town square of where conversation is happening and people are talking about current events and overall social issues and topics and whatever's happening in the world. I do scroll on Twitter because I do use that as a news source and I do have engagements and conversations on Twitter. That's the only app you're ever going to see me in the comments. So and now Instagram just recently released an app called Threads, which by the time you all hear this, most of you are probably familiar with Threads. It's basically a clone of, well, it's not a clone, but it's a competitor to Twitter. It's like the Instagram version, the Facebook/Meta version of Twitter. So I am on Threads, and that's another app that I would scroll on because it's a town square type place where people are just having conversation and engagement. So Twitter and Threads are the two apps that I will scroll on because I'm looking to see what people are talking about and see what the conversation is. But on Instagram, I am not scrolling. I'm not scrolling on Facebook. I don't scroll on TikTok. I don't scroll on LinkedIn. I don't scroll on YouTube. Why? Because the algorithms are smarter than me and they're going to beat me. If I try to use my willpower to fight the algorithm, I will lose that fight every single time. So don't get in a fight that you cannot win. So I am intentionally scrolling on those two apps that I mentioned, Threads and Twitter, but I'm not doing it mindlessly. You do anything mindlessly, the algorithms will grab you. Again, it's like you're mindlessly, you ever watch National Geographic? One of those animals goes to the edge of the river or the edge of the lake to drink some water and they don't realize that the crocodile is coming up from underneath the surface of the water. Boom, it's over. All right, that's you. All right, and that's the algorithm grabbing you and taking you under. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to control your social media usage. Number 2, do not leave comments. Now, again, I'm telling you things that could actually hurt me if you actually start following these and you don't leave comments on my stuff. But I'm telling you these things because I think those of you who are listening to this, you all are in the 1% that are serious about maximizing your effectiveness out here, not just your productivity, but your effectiveness. Don't leave comments. Similar to what I said in point number 1. Twitter and now Threads are the only applications on which I will leave comments on things that somebody else posts. Everywhere else, you will never see my name in the comments. So if you're ever on any app and you see my name in the comments, you see me in the comments on Instagram, block and report that account, because that is not me. All right. I do not leave comments on people's posts. All right. Because I ain't scrolling, so it ain't nothing for me to comment on. So whenever you hear me talk about current events and social issues, the reason that I'm able to do so is because I get a lot of source material by going through apps like Twitter and now Threads, because that's where I get my source material from. I don't watch TV. I don't even own a TV. There's no TV in my home. I don't watch the news, and I don't read newspapers. So the only place I get that source material is by going through these apps that actually are talking about current events. So the reason I am able to talk about them is because I use those apps as source material. So if you read between the lines here, what I'm saying, I'm scrolling for a reason, because I'm looking for what are some things, where are some ideas that I can get out of this? And those ideas may end up on this show as a podcast episode, may end up as a YouTube video, may end up as an article. It could end up in one of my courses. It could end up as a live stream. So I'm searching for something that I can use. I'm not just scrolling through just because I ain't got nothing else to do. Okay. And you should not be either. So you will never see me leaving a comment on anything that anybody posts on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. So if you ever see my face in the comment section on any of those apps, that's a fake account. All right. Block and report that account. I never comment on people's shit. So if I really have something to say about something that somebody creates on one of those apps that I just mentioned, you know what I'm going to do? I go take notes on what they said and what I think about what they said. And then you know what I do? I don't leave a comment. I go make my own content responding to what that person said, because I'm going to get maximum usage out of what I had to say about what they said. Because if I just put it in the comments, well, what's the chances that the rest of my audience is going to know about it? Most of you don't know that person that I'm commenting on. So what I do is make my own content based on what they said. You get what I'm saying here? So, for example, when I critiqued Ibram X. Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, I could have went to his Twitter account and just left all my thoughts on his Twitter. I could have replied to him on Twitter and just said what I wanted to say to him, or wrote him a letter, and nobody would have knew about it except me and him, if he even saw it. But instead, I went and made my own episodes on this feed so I could get the value out of whatever it is that I had to say, instead of wasting it in his space. I made it into my stuff. You see what I'm saying? And all of you, again, you should be doing it that way if you're going to do that. I'm not saying you have to do what I do, but if you're going to do it that way. So if I really have something to say about somebody's stuff, I make my own content about it. I don't leave my comments on their content. Why would I put the eloquence of my thoughts in the comment section of somebody else's post when I can put them into my post and get all the attention for it for myself? Again, the rhetorical question requires no answer. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, how to control your social media use. Number 3, care less about what other people are doing. Now, there is an asterisk to this point, but the general point is care less of what other people are doing. The exception is if what they're doing is helping you do your stuff. In other words, if you're on social media and you're following someone who is like a coach or mentor or thought leader or domain expert in your particular space, you can care about what they're doing, because that could actually help you do your stuff better. So there are people who I follow on social media who I look at because I know they have expertise in certain areas in which I want expertise. So I'm willing to look at their stuff. I'm willing to listen to what they have to say. I'll read their captions or whatever it is, and I will pay attention to their stuff. And if you look at my social media, you notice, look at how many followers I have versus how many people I follow on any social media application. I don't follow too many people because I don't really give a damn about what other people are doing. There's a select few people that I follow because those are the people who, if they do have something to say, I am willing to listen to it. Everybody else, listen, there's no hate. All right. For any of the rest of you, it's just that I really don't give a damn about what other people are doing. This allows me to have more bandwidth for my stuff. Okay. So pay less attention to what other people are doing. And unless it's one of these experts, people who are an expert to you, otherwise you ignore it. I pay zero attention to other people's stuff. So I'm only paying attention to people's stuff, or they are talking about stuff that will help me do my stuff better. So even the people who I do follow and listen to, I'm only listening to them because I'm trying to extract what I can from them so that can help me do me better. I'm not listening to them to support them. I'm listening to them to support me. I'm just borrowing from them their knowledge so I can make it my knowledge. And this is a very selfish thing to do. And you need to be selfish when it comes to social media. They're being selfish. All right? They're monetizing your time as we speak. Any of you who's scrolling through a social media app right now while you're listening to me, and I know a bunch of you are, understand they're making money off your time right now. They're making money off your time. while you're scrolling for free. They ain't paying you, are they? All right. They're making money off you for free. So if you listen back to prior episodes of this show, when I talk about podcasts that I listen to, or what authors I like to read, or when I mention authors, I will pay attention to what those people are doing because they might do something or might say something that could benefit me. But other than that, I really don't care what you had for lunch. I don't care what car your favorite influencer just bought. I don't care where some basketball player or some reality TV star is going on vacation. I don't care what kind of sneakers some Instagram model is wearing today. I don't care what somebody's ideas are on some subject that I don't care about, or myriad other things. Now, if you are in the thought leadership space, as I am, you should share these things. All right. I will let you know I'll let you know what I have for lunch. I probably won't tell you what kind of car I bought. Probably won't tell you where I'm going on vacation. I might show you what kind of shoes I got on. I will tell you my ideas on certain subjects. I definitely will do that. And I'll share a bunch of other things. As a thought leader, you should share these as a producer, but you should not be paying attention to this stuff as a consumer. You understand? Because people in your audience, when you have influence, they want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you have going on. They want to know what you think. They want to know where you're going. They want to know what you're eating. They want to know where you're going on vacation. People want to know this stuff. Why? Because people just like to pay attention to other people's business. That's what social media is, a way of getting in other people's business and people openly letting you know what their business is. That's what social media is. So people want to know this stuff. So as a producer, when you have an audience, you should be sharing these things that you otherwise would not pay attention to if somebody else was sharing it, but you should share it because there are people in your audience who want to know about it. But when it comes to utilizing social media, the way that we use it as producers is damn near the exact opposite of how you should use it as a consumer. Everybody follow me? All right. So what you do as a producer, do the opposite as a consumer. All right. So I will tell you about a lot of stuff I got going on as a producer. Like I produce every day. I say my story from Instagram is usually somewhere between 8 and 12 minutes worth of material that I post just to my Instagram story every single day. I never, ever, ever scroll through and look at other people's Instagram stories. I never look at anybody else's Instagram story, but I will produce 10 minutes worth of Instagram story every single day. So I'm telling you, what you produce and what you consume should be exact opposites. So number 4, today's topic once again is how to control your social media use. Number 4, ration your use by results-based rewards. Because listen, understand, we're human. You're going to use social media. I'm not telling you not to use it. I use it. I have social media apps. Again, there's a new app called Threads. Now there's going to be some time that's going to be diverted towards Threads every single day because I want to see what's going on. And I use it as source material. So I'm not saying don't use social media, but you want to ration it out. So for example, for every 5 sales calls you make, you get a reward of 5 minutes of use of social media. Just an example I'm giving you. You can create your own. You should never allow yourself to mindlessly use social media for just as long as you feel like it, because again, it is scientifically engineered to suck you in and keep you there for much longer than you planned on being there. How many of you have ever logged into a social media app planning to go grab something or look for one thing or to see one thing, or you need to grab a link or you need to check on something on somebody's profile, and then 20 minutes later realize that you're still on the app and you didn't even get the one thing that you came there to get? How many of you ever had that happen? Oh yeah, me neither, right? LOL. Of course, the algorithms are scientifically designed. Okay, the scientific design of social media is stronger than your willpower. So don't get in a game that you will not win. Okay, the game is not for you to get stronger willpower. No, that's not the solution. The game is to structure yourself such that you don't get into a battle that you can't win. That's the discipline of how not using social media too much is produced. You notice my verb is there? The structure creates the discipline. It is not because you force yourself to be disciplined. All right? That's not the job. That's not what we do here at Work on Your Game. Game here at Work on Your Game is not to force yourself to be disciplined. I know I'm a guy who talks about discipline a lot. The way you get disciplined is not making yourself be disciplined. The way you get disciplined is put the structure in place that makes the discipline easy. Okay, and if you didn't hear the episode of the show where I talked about that, oh, you didn't know I did an episode where I talked about that, huh? All right, well, let me help you out because I did do an episode where I talked about how to make discipline easy. That is episode, if I can spell it correctly, episode 1643, how to make discipline easy. When you have the structure in place, the discipline comes out of the bottom of the funnel, so to speak. With all that said, let's recap today's class, which is how to control your use of social media. Again, listen to episode 1690 if you want to understand the business concept of how social media works and what they're actually doing to you and how they are using you. And again, I'm not saying that social media is necessarily bad for using you, because we're allowing ourselves to be used. So if somebody allows themselves to be used, then hey, there are no victims, there are only volunteers. And we are all volunteers. You have a social media app on your phone, you are a volunteer. Social media is using you. It's not a negative thing. I'm just letting you know how it's working so you understand the game. All right, that's why it was called Work on Your Game. When you know the game, then you can play it the right way. All right, point number 1, stop scrolling. This is a simple one, but not easy. All right, use social media as a producer, not as a consumer. Never, ever catch yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media. It will suck your time away. The same way that a crocodile grabs an animal and pulls them underneath the water, you ain't getting out of there once they grab you. Number 2, don't leave comments. All right, similar to what I said in point number 1, Twitter is the only app, now Threads, where I will leave comments on other people's stuff because I'm using it as a source material, place of source material, and I'm also using it as a town square where I'm just having conversations and seeing what people are talking about. And when you hear me talk about social issues and current events, it's because of the time that I spend on Twitter and on Threads, because I see what people are talking about. I don't watch the news. I don't read newspapers. Where I get my news from is from these apps. So I'm using them strategically. Number 3, care less about what other people are doing, with the exception of people who you see as thought leaders, domain experts, and influencers to you. Listen to what they say, because what they're doing can help you do your thing better. But everybody else, forget what they have going on. Doesn't matter what your cousin bought for his birthday. Doesn't matter what your college roommate, what they're doing on vacation. Doesn't matter what kind of car the guy who lives 3 houses down from you bought 3 weeks ago. Who cares? What does any of that have to do with you? Nothing. So stop paying attention to it. And number 4, ration your use with results-based rewards. So for example, every 5 sales calls you make, you get 5 minutes of social media scrolling. Make up your own, but everything should be based on some type of criteria. You have to do this to get that. All right, you got to actually do the work in order to get some kind of reward. Do not just mindlessly scroll on social media, because again, the scientific setup of social media and algorithmic design of social media will beat your willpower every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So the game is to get a structure for yourself such that you don't get into a battle that you can't win. And that's how you get discipline. Put the structure in place, discipline comes out on the back end. All that said, text me, tell me the best point that you got from today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. If you like what you heard here today, you want to get better at using your time, you want to get better at using social media, you want to be an influencer, you want to make sure that you are using your time consistently and in a effective way, not just productive, but effective way, to where you are actually getting the outcomes that you want. Join Work on Your Game University. I will coach you on how exactly to do it and where exactly to do it, when and why, and all of that. Go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.